Hell in a Cell 2020 has 6 matches, 3 title matches. One title changed hands. Oh, well, two. Two titles changed hands, as you say. And was this pay per view even good? And a pay per view where the most action came from the women's title match between Bayley and Sasha. The most emotion came from Reigns and Jey Uso. And the typical match, typical Hell in a Cell, came with the WWE Championship. Now, the other matches were a throwaway match with Retribution, Slapjack challenging Bobby Lashley for the WWE United States Championship. Of course, it was going to happen when what we all expected, Lashley tapping out Slapjack. And of course, that means that Retribution is dead. They are done. People are fed up. WWE dropped the ball on them, but it really made Ali a monster heel, make him a guy who people can, take seriously. No, you saddle him with, telling you, Mia Yim and Dominic Dijakovic and even Dio Madden, those three can easily be main eventers. But you saddle them with this Retribution. Elias, I don't care what anybody says, his stick is old. I'm tired of him. He beats Jeff because Jeff gets disqualified by pretty much giving him a dose of his own medicine, hitting him with a steel chair. Gets DQ. Otis and The Miz. Who didn't see that coming? That Tucker turned his back on his longtime friend, his so-called best friend. There's a moment there where Morrison goes to hit Otis with the briefcase. He gets caught by the referee, Jessica Carr. She orders him out of the ring and out of the area, back to this, to the backstage area. And then just when you thought Otis was going to successfully defend or retain his briefcase, Tucker hits him with the briefcase. And Miz sees that, and all he has to do is just cover him, and he covers him, and he becomes the new Mr. Money in the Bank. 13 years ago was the last time that took place where there was a Money in the Bank briefcase on the line. Like I said, that was was Mr. Kennedy and Edge. If I'm not mistaken, I think that definitely was it. Because that's the only other time I can remember a match, a title, a Money in the Bank thing being online. So those were the regular 3 matches and then the title matches. Let's talk about the opening, which was surprisingly Reigns and Jey Uso. It was rumored that they were going to be in the main event, but they ended up kicking things off. In the end, Roman Reigns, well, of course, this is the first time that in Hell in a Cell you're supposed to tap. You're going to tap out you're going to make your opponent say, "I quit." Has never happened before, and just who was going to be the one to, to say, "I quit." What these guys did to each other was very, very brutal. You know that eventually somebody was going to have to say, "I quit." They were not letting up, especially Roman Reigns. He was his most brutal, his most vicious. He was just every bit of the heartless, cold heel that he has become. Now, when it looked like he would not stop, he kept beating on Jay. Out comes his brother Jimmy, shields his brother, and pretty much, was getting him to, getting Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns was getting very emotional, tears welling up in his eyes. And then when he and Jimmy, shake hands, they got their hands like this, clasped, and Roman pulls him in and gets the guillotine on him. Wouldn't let up, would not let go of it. Jay sees this and says, I quit. I quit. Wanted to save his brother. Rather than win the title, he was going to save his brother. And then you see Roman Reigns, after this whole thing happens, he goes up to the rampway. He is met by his uncle Alpha and his father Sika, whom we all old school WWE fans remember them as the Wild Samoans. And they anoint him the head of the table, putting lays over his around his head, around his neck. And that was that with that match. A very, very emotional match. The whole time Roman was talking to Jay, talking him down. All you had to do was stay home. All you had to do was just acknowledge me. And Jay wouldn't do it. So what happens now is Jay, Jimmy, and their wives and kids are now out of the family. Is this how they're going to incorporate The Rock? There's a rumor that Roman Reigns and The Rock are going to face each other at WrestleMania. This would definitely facilitate that. This could definitely be the only way that they can get Roman Reigns and The Rock in the ring, because The Rock, is a part of the family, and he's going to want to be in a kind of like a liaison, someone just in between the both of them to try to get these guys to make up. And then Roman Reigns is going to do what he has to do to keep The Rock, because Rock can be a threat to him, because he can look at The Rock and go, oh shoot, this guy, Mr. Hollywood, he has all the resources, all this stuff. He ain't going to take over my family. And the whole thing with him and Jay is going to carry over. It's going to be him and The Rock, and they're going to have the same issues with, with Roman Reigns, defending his, so-called place as head of the table. It was a good match. Very, very emotional, like I said. And, now, Sasha Banks and Bayley. Now, in the Jey Uso and Roman Reigns match, the only weapon that was introduced was the leather strap. They ripped the town literally on both of each other. Both of them were drawing welts on their back, and they were really, really laying in with those whippings, Now, Bayley and Sasha one was the most physical out of the three title matches, the most hard-hitting. They brought out every weapon you can imagine. All the toys were laid out, and they used them. Sasha hitting the meteoras, Bayley knocking her into the cage, and then you have, Sasha at the outset, getting rid of Bayley's chair that she always carries with her. And I was thinking to myself, there's more chairs where that came from, but it's almost like a symbol of what Bayley uses, because, hey, this is the thing that I took my best friend out with. She would get it back in, and it would be back into play, and she'd be able to use it on Sasha. But these two really went at each other. I mean, this match was downright physical. You would think, it's going to be, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, that were going to be the more physical matches. The matches that are going to steal the show and pretty much be the quintessential Hell in a Cell match. But it was Sasha and Bayley. For me, anyway. Like I said, they used every weapon imaginable. Stacking up, like I said, a ladder on top of two chairs. And you see Sasha hit kind of like a little insult, a little bit of an insult, a little bit of a mockery, if you will, to Bayley, kind of sticking it to her by hitting her Bailey to belly, and then Bailey's able to do that in return. See Bailey hit her Macho Man style elbow drop. Sasha misses and does a frog splash, but she ends up frog splashing that very table. I mean, not the table, but that very ladder that I talked about. Sasha looked like she took so many chair in the corner, and she got, thrown back, and her head just slams against the chair. A lot of, bumps and a lot of spots that, you know, you got to remember her ladder match. I mean, not ladder match, but her Hell in a Cell match with Sasha. Sasha's Hell in a Cell match with Charlotte. A lot of carnage there, right? Remember that match? She even had one with Becky. So she's a more experienced coming in here. So maybe she was a little more comfortable. She knew where to go and how to take whatever bumps were going to come her way. Bailey held her own, but in the end, she gets Sasha does. She gets Bailey wrapped up into that chair, and then she puts the bank statement on and taps out Bailey. And Bailey's 300 and what's that? 80. Tell me how long was her title reign? 380. $382 she was champion, and give or take a day, 383, 382. But her historic reign of Bailey's is ended, and now Sasha is the champion, the new champ. Is she gonna hold on to the title longer than 2 weeks? I hope they give her a long reign with this. I'm trying to remember where Sasha, where Charlotte is going to be, where she was drafted to. I think she was drafted to Raw, right? If I'm not mistaken. But it's like, I don't want her anywhere near Sasha because Sasha will then drop the title to her once she gets back. Remember, Charlotte can't exist without a title. Fuck the whole giving her a storyline and a rivalry and a feud for like a few months before she even touches a title. But hopefully she gets a long title reign. Hold it at least until WrestleMania. Gives her a good December, January, March, 6-month reign. Yeah. But now, speaking of a historic reign coming to an end, that is Drew McIntyre. Now, this match was truly the quintessential Hell in a Cell match. All the spots, all of the usage of the Razor Cell, outside, even at one point climbing the cell, both on top of the cell. And then a hellacious bump that Drew McIntyre took, and he fell off the cage and then down onto the announce desk, going crashing right through it. Randy Orton was his usual vicious self. All kinds of offense, all kinds of viciousness, brutality. You wanted it, you got it in this match. And a lot of people can wonder, why did Randy Orton? In the end, he gets hit with a claymore, gets knocked out of the ring. And then once he gets back into the ring, Drew McIntyre sets up for another claymore kick. Now, Randy Orton evades it, and then he hits the RKO on Drew McIntyre, and you're thinking Drew McIntyre's going to kick out, but he doesn't kick out. And so his lengthy reign is over, and they give the title to Randy Orton. Now, is there a reason for Randy Orton to have this title? To have won the WWE Championship for the 14th time? Is it because they're setting up for WrestleMania with him and Edge? Right, then Edge will definitely be healed up. I mean, he's probably healed up now. Maybe he's on the mend, you know. But I would definitely go for that match. Man. They had a great match, last man standing match at WrestleMania. And next year, it would definitely be the highlight and probably the best reason why Randy Orton, I mean, Edge returned because he wanted a type of match like that. You know, maybe a capper to his career. But he did talk about he wanting to go against younger talent, especially like in NXT too. There's some guys that he pointed out and some people in the main roster right now. So I'm hoping for Edge to come back and possibly they could start their program and lean and go, you know, kind of get down the road and it'll lead up to WrestleMania where they'll have the match. What do you call that when they you have it culminate and you go their feud at WrestleMania, and then Edge will win the title. But who knows? Who knows how long he'll have the championship? Randy Orton. I mean, you know, he's a guy who he has a hot hand right now, so he should keep the title for some time. You know, he's just right now he's hitting on all cylinders as the saying goes. He's really just, you know, hitting everything. You know, everything that he's supposed to do, he's doing it perfectly. You know, there's no misstep. There's nothing that people go, oh God, he messed that up. No, he's been hitting it on every end, on every angle. So there you have it. Randy Orton is the new WWE champion. Sasha Banks is the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Retaining his title is Roman Reigns. Elias wins by a DQ over Jeff Hardy. Otis loses his Money in the Bank ladder match contract to The Miz. And Bobby Lashley defends his U.S. title, successfully retains it against Slapjack, who should get slapped along with the rest of them. Slap some sense into them to go back to NXT and be Mia Yim, be Dominic Dijakovic, be Shane Thorne, who's Slapjack, and Dio Madden. The guy has a look, he has a size and everything like that. Just let him be Dio. You know, send him back to NXT. Forget that Retribution never happened. I'm not saying that, you know, that they suck in the sense that they did have a look, they did have a presence, but it just fell so fast. It's like, and nobody did it but themselves. It's like with, you know, when you're going back to, what do you call it? Going back to Nexus, they had a momentum. They were on a roll. What did WWE do? Fed them to John Cena. John Cena, there was a move they did on John Cena, and Cena didn't sell it, whereas other wrestlers would sell the move, and it made Nexus look weak. But here, it's Retribution that pretty much imploded, and WWE is at fault, as you know, simply because they allowed him to look weak. It wasn't somebody else that made him look weak. They were booked to look weak. They had a chance, they had a shot, but no more. You know, I mean, unless they do something drastic to switch it around and to flip it, there's no hope for them. You know, no hope for Retribution. But anyway, when it comes to the whole pay-per-view, it's like out of 6 matches, it's like 3 were good and 3 were So does that mean I give it 5 out of 10 stars, or I get 2 out of 4, or I give it a C minus? You know, because it's like half and half good, half not. So, you know, I can't really say I enjoyed it in the sense of the entire pay-per-view, but I enjoyed the title matches, especially the Sasha Banks and Bayley one. So it's salvageable. Those 3 did salvage this pay-per-view, but you know, it wasn't their greatest. But at least they can hang their hat on the title matches, especially, like I said, Sasha and Bayley. But anyway, that's my rundown and my thoughts on Hell in a Cell 2020. Well, for those of you who stopped by and checked out my video, I appreciate it. And in closing, as always, take care.